In Space Marine 2 PvP, you are given a choice of what classes to play. These classes vary on what they offer to the player, and I would 100% be lying to you if I said all of these classes are equal, although all of them do serve a purpose, and there isn't really one that is totally useless. So in today's video, I'm going to list the most powerful and easy to use characters in Space Marine 2 PvP currently as of the release of the game. Now we're going to be starting off with probably the best class in the game for PvP right now, and that is the Heavy. The Heavy class is definitely the strongest class in Space Marine 2. The Heavy's arsenal does so much damage, such as the Heavy Bolter. Unlike other class-based shooters, you don't need to rev up this machine gun. And the machine gun also does insane amounts of damage, that in some situations, people could have the jump on me, and I could just turn around and kill them quick, since my Heavy Bolter is much more powerful than their weapon. This weapon also doesn't need to be reloaded, and has a cooldown if you shoot it for too long. Problem is that you can shoot it for way too long until the cooldown happens, that it hasn't even happened to me yet. I really think this weapon should just have the regular reload system that takes long rather than not having one. One thing I can't figure out is if you move slower with the Heavy Bolter or not, which I do hope you do move slower, which should make sense since the Heavy Bolter is much more heavy than a regular bolter. Now with the Heavy's ability with the bubble shield, it is so insane. You have a portable bubble that essentially increases your armor that moves along with you that also bounces grenades away from you. To me, the bubble shield doesn't really make any sense since it bounces grenades away, but people can walk through it, so like, physics, this along with the Heavy having 4 pieces of armor and the bubble increasing the longevity of his health definitely makes him the strongest character. In most one-on-one situations against the Heavy, you will likely lose. Really the only way to counter the Heavy is to use a Heavy. Like the saying, fight fire with fire. His ability, alongside one of the best weapons in the game, makes him probably the best character in the game. And he most definitely needs some balancing out of all the characters in the game. The Heavy class in this game doesn't really feel like a regular Heavy class. Since all the classes in this game are Space Marines, it really feels like the Heavy has the same speed as all the other classes and doesn't really have a flaw that makes people not want to use the Heavy. Now with my second pick, it's probably going to have to be the Sniper. The Sniper is actually a really good class. Its arsenal is really incredible and its character can deal a lot of damage, and I think it probably deals the most damage out of any class. And I think it might actually be one of the best classes for the Annihilation mode. The Sniper does incredible amounts of damage, and even at close range it can act as a shotgun. One of the main problems with the Sniper class is that there's really no flinch for getting shot, which means there's really no penalty for getting shot at, since even if you get low on health, you could just go into your cloak and run away, or hide behind a wall and heal. There's a lot of maps like Cathedral where there's long range areas that make the Sniper class really powerful. The cloak ability is also really good where you can get the jump on enemies. The Sniper is also a really good support class where your whole team could be focusing on the objective and you're just standing in one area in the back with a Red Bull just taking half the enemy's health. Since the Snipers deal a lot of damage, especially if you headshot people, you could just quickly switch to your secondary after dealing damage with your primary. And yeah, Sniper in most situations is really good, and his cloak ability gives him more flexibility. There was literally one time where a guy as a sniper was in his cloak, and instead of meleeing me or shooting me, he just ran up on me in his cloak ability and just threw a grenade and I died, and I saw him run away. So yeah, Sniper is a really good class and he probably should get some flinch added to his weapon to balance him a little because he's a pretty annoying class to deal with. And also, a lot of people can steal your kills with the Sniper, so yeah. Tactical is a really solid class and he's probably my favorite class in the game. To me, he is nowhere near as good as the Heavy, and I think Tactical is all around a balanced class, but I still think he's a pretty good class overall. His radar scanner ability thingy is decent and shares info with your team and can give you and your team confidence whether to push someone or not since you know the location of them. Or it can scare enemies away as they won't be comfortable peeking you since you know their location. And also, the arsenal of the Tactical class is really the main point of it. You got weapons like the Plasma Incinerator or just the regular bolters. It also has 3 pieces of armor, which is good. It's sort of a jack of all trades type of class, since it doesn't really have any exceeding qualities like the Heavy with his bubble and Heavy Bolter, but is more of a jack of all trades with his ability and arsenal and also armor. The class also has automatic weapons that are close to mid-range, but can also deal a lot of damage long range, when a lot of the other characters don't have automatic weapons that efficiently do damage at some longer ranges. Now we have the Bulwark. Bulwark may seem like a weak class since it only has a pistol, but it might be close with the Heavy. It's incredible for pushing up with your team since it can block bullets with its shield. which if they were to nerf the bulwark, I think they should add a timer for blocking, as you can essentially block an infinite amount of projectiles while running. Really the only counters to the bulwark is the Vanguard and the Assault class. But these classes are so easy to kill, and most of the time the bulwark is with their team, so it's going to be very hard to kill the bulwark. It also has the same amount of armor as the heavy, and its ability can regain armor and can save you and your team if they're dying, which makes this one of the best support classes and also best classes for objective based game modes. If you see 2 heavies and 2 bulwarks, you might as well just fucking leave the game. Although its kit may seem bad, the plasma pistol is actually a really good weapon that does a good amount of damage, and really the only problem with it is that it doesn't have much ammo. The bulwark also has more melee weapons like the power sword, which is definitely going to be better than the chain sword. I think the most defining quality of the bulwark has to be shield. If you get into a one-on-one with the bulwark, your best bet is to throw a grenade and hope it kills him or run away. You're definitely going to win most one-on-ones if you play as the bulwark. Another factor that doesn't have to do with any of his skills is that the bulwark probably has some of the best customization. I really thought this class was going to be bad, but it's actually really good. Overall, 2 of these classes are incredibly strong, and one of the other of them is strong, but isn't incredibly efficient, and is actually quite balanced. I think one thing 3 of these classes have is that they're incredibly easy to use, which I believe the classes that are a bit frowned upon, such as the Bulwark and Assault, which I actually think is a decent class, as they can support your team, is that they're both kinda hard to use. I have seen them being used efficiently, which I guess is when people got the hang of the class. Overall, the one class that definitely needs to be balanced out of all these classes is the heavy. When really the only way to counter a heavy is with the heavy, it kinda shows the character is a little bit too strong. I really think the bubble shield should just be placed and shouldn't follow the heavy, as it isn't really used to support your battle brothers, but it's more used selfishly when in a one-on-one, and also I think the heavy having his weapon being revved up would make his weapon more balanced, since it's definitely the best starting weapon in this game. So yeah, in my opinion, these are the strongest characters in the game. Do you agree or not? And if you disagree, how about you go shout in the comments or something. Goodbye, it's been ToeJam.